Warning, this video discusses murder investigations, extreme violence, and sensitive material. Viewer discretion is advised. Joseph Naso. To the outside world, he was a freelance photographer, a seemingly ordinary man living a transient life across Northern California. But in the shadows, he was a meticulous predator, a serial killer who would become known as the Double Initial Killer. His 4 confirmed victims, Roxane Rogash, Carmen Colon, Pamela Parsons, and Tracy Tafoya, all shared a chilling signature. Their first and last names began with the same letter. When Naso was finally brought to justice in 2013, investigators uncovered a trove of disturbing evidence, including a handwritten document they called the List of 10. It described 10 women in 10 locations. 4 were his known victims. The other 6 entries remained cryptic, pointing to potential victims who were either missing or had never been identified, their cases lost in the vast archives of law enforcement. For years, these whispers have haunted cold case detectives. Now, police in one coastal community believe they finally matched a name to one of those whispers, potentially solving Daly City's oldest and most stubborn cold case. The year was 1974. In the cold of January, on the desolate shores of Thornton Beach, a young woman's body was found. It's a rugged, often fog-shrouded stretch of coastline just south of San Francisco, a place of stark, windswept beauty where the Pacific Ocean relentlessly carves away at the cliffs. She had been left there, discarded and exposed to the harsh coastal elements. Investigators at the time had almost nothing to go on. No identification, no witnesses, no viable leads. The advanced DNA analysis and forensic methods we rely on today were still decades away. She became a ghost, known only as Jane Doe, her file relegated to a dusty shelf. For nearly 50 years, her identity remained a mystery, her killer a phantom. She lay there in an unmarked grave, a case unopened, unanswered, a silent victim of a crime that time itself seemed to have forgotten. For years, the known horrors of Joseph Naso's crimes seemed contained, cataloged, and closed. But behind the stone walls of San Quentin State Prison, a different, far more expansive story was allegedly unfolding. The key to unlocking it would emerge from an unlikely source, a fellow inmate on death row. Fast forward to the bombshell release of a new documentary, Death Row Confidential: Secrets of a Serial Killer. In it, former death row inmate Bill Nogueira, a convicted murderer himself, made a stunning claim. He said that over a decade of conversations, a strange and macabre rapport had formed between him and Naso. The aging photographer, perhaps seeing a potential chronicler for his secret life, began to talk. Nogueira asserts that Naso didn't just reminisce about the crimes for which he was convicted. He allegedly confessed to a staggering 26 murders in total. These weren't tearful admissions of guilt, but chilling, boastful accounts delivered with a disturbing sense of pride, painting a portrait of a prolific predator who had operated with impunity for decades. The centerpiece of these alleged confessions was a macabre catalog Naso proudly called his List of 10. This wasn't a list of names, but of his top 10 favorite killings, described in cryptic, taunting phrases. It was a gruesome game, a puzzle box of human suffering to which only he held the key. Each entry was a ghost whispered into the prison air, a challenge to the world that had failed to catch him for so long. Among them was one entry that would later galvanize cold case investigators: Girl from Miami, near Down Peninsula. The reference was mysterious but tantalizingly specific. It wasn't a person, but a place, a potential breadcrumb leading back to a forgotten victim. Nogueira, sensing its significance, pressed for details. Who was she? When did this happen? But Naso, ever the manipulator, remained evasive. The moment Nogueira showed too much interest, the door to Naso's dark past would slam shut. Information was a currency, and Naso would not spend it freely. These jailhouse whispers, while not direct evidence, provided an invaluable investigative roadmap. For detectives analyzing the claims, Nogueira's accounts offered a new lens through which to view Naso's entire history. The list wasn't just a boast. It was a potential guide to his secret geography of murder, offering new locations and timelines that could finally bring closure to families who had waited decades for answers. For years, the cases had remained stubbornly separate, filed away in different jurisdictions, gathering dust in evidence lockers and forgotten archives. But for cold case investigator Ken Maines, these dormant files represented a single, chilling narrative waiting to be read. His task was to look past the boundaries of time and geography to find the faint connective threads that others had missed. He began by immersing himself in the life and alleged crimes of one man, Joseph Naso. Maines meticulously deconstructed Naso's established pattern of violence. The signature was disturbingly consistent. Victims were often strangled, their bodies disposed of with a cold, methodical precision. But the most infamous element, the one that earned Naso the grim moniker of the alphabet killer from some media outlets, was the alliteration. Investigators had long noted a horrifying trend. Many of his confirmed victims had first and last names, starting with the same letter. To Maines, this wasn't just a coincidence. It was a potential calling card, a taunt left by a killer hiding in plain sight. The list of known victims was a tragic roll call spanning decades. There was Roxane Rogash, just 18, found in 1977 near Fairfax. A year later, the body of 22-year-old Carmen Colon was discovered near Port Costa. The pattern then seemed to go dormant for over a decade before re-emerging with brutal force in the 1990s, claiming the lives of Pamela Parsons and Tracy Tafoya. Each case on its own was a profound tragedy, but when viewed through Maine's analytical lens, they formed a constellation of calculated evil, a timeline of a predator who seemed to hunt by a twisted alphabetical rulebook. Maine's approach was part old-school detective work, part modern data analysis. He spread the case files across a massive board, connecting names, dates, and locations with a web of red string. But he also spearheaded the effort to digitize reports, cross-referencing motor vehicle records, property deeds, and witness statements from multiple counties and states. He was searching for overlaps, for moments when Naso's known whereabouts intersected with an unsolved murder that fit the profile. He was hunting for a ghost in a mountain of paperwork, a victim whose connection to Naso had been lost to time and jurisdictional divides. And then, sifting through a file from the Daly City Police Department, dated 1979, he found her. The name on the cover read, Charlotte Cook, 19 years old, a young woman with her whole life ahead of her, captured in a smiling photograph. On the day she vanished, she was making a simple trip, leaving her home in Oakland to visit her sister across the bay in San Francisco. She was last seen wearing a distinctive camel-colored coat. She never arrived. For decades, her case had remained a painful, unsolved mystery for her family and local police, a cold file with no viable leads. Her body was later discovered in a desolate, fog-shrouded spot just above the Thornton Beach Ranger Station, a place of stark, rugged beauty. The official cause of death was ligature strangulation. As Maines absorbed the details from the decades-old report, the pieces clicked into place with chilling certainty. The signature, strangulation, matched Naso's method perfectly. The location on the peninsula was within his known geographical hunting grounds. And then, the final damning detail that had been overlooked for so long. The double initials, C.C. Charlotte Cook. It was the alphabet killer's alleged calling card. The pattern wasn't just a theory anymore. It had a new name and a new face. For Detective Maines, this wasn't just another link in the chain. It was the key that could potentially unlock the full, terrifying scope of Joseph Naso's suspected crimes. Charlotte Cook becomes the focal point, maybe the girl from Miami. Naso, as the documentary suggests, might have meant Miami Court, a street sign near where he once lived in Oakland. That could explain the Miami reference, not the city, but the court. When Maines walked near Naso's old Oakland apartment, he spotted the Miami Court sign. The pieces clicked. Daly City police believe they now have probable cause to formally connect Naso to Charlotte Cook's murder. They approached Naso in prison, now 91 years old, housed in a prison hospital in Stockton, but he refused to comment. ABC 7 San Francisco. Charlotte's daughters. Decades of uncertainty. Oleta Cook, Freedom Cook. Their lives shaped around a mother they never knew beyond her disappearance. The kind of pain that stretches across generations. ABC 7 San Francisco. And there may be more. Police suspect Naso in at least one other killing from 1987, with similar signature, still hoping to close those cases before time runs out. ABC 7 San Francisco. What started as a buried mystery seems on the brink of resolution decades later, through confessions, pattern recognition, and relentless investigators. Charlotte Cook's family may finally know the truth. Still, many questions remain. Stay informed. Support cold case work. Every voice, every clue matters. Have a great day. If you found this video insightful, share it with others, subscribe to our channel, and stay curious.